Hello, students. I'm bringing to you some analysis on Olive Senior's book of poetry, Gardening in the Tropics. The title of this text is both literal and metaphoric. So when we hear the terms gardening and the term tropics, we take all the literal meaning that we have and we work with it there. So, first I'll do for you the understanding of the tropics. And probably a little bit of geography will help you here. But if you get a look at Earth and how it is divided geographically, there are lines of latitude and lines of longitude. I'll show them to you in a minute. You have the Tropic of Cancer, the Tropic of Capricorn. And then there is a relationship between the sun and the earth. And this relationship determines why they're called tropical. These areas on earth are tropical. And so you begin to understand why some countries are defined as tropical. And then we take all of that and we ask, and we try to answer this question. Why Senior has selected such a title for her collection of poems? Here I've downloaded images that will help you to understand the geography. So here is Earth. And here you've got North and South America, I think. The two continents, I think. And there are lines, geographic lines and boundaries. So here in the middle it's called the equator. Above it's called the Tropic of Cancer. So any country falling between there falls within the Tropic of Cancer. Here falls within the Tropic of Capricorn. And as you go away from the equator, you get to the Arctic Circle, way up top there, and the Antarctic Circle. There are also some temperate lands. If you do a little check with your geography, it will help you. And the kind of divisions that these lines demarcate has a particular relationship to the sun's light. And so depending on the Earth's movement around the sun, so imagine Earth rotating around the sun, some countries get more sunlight than others. And so the rays of the sun, they impact here, whatever is in the middle, the equator. And so here you get direct sunlight, harsh sunlight. But if it's going all the way to the top there, you see the lines are longer. The distance for the sunlight is much increased. So at the two ends, where you've got the Arctic and the Antarctic Circle, much sunlight doesn't get there at all. And so that explains why some countries experience warm weather conditions, rainfall and sunshine, while others experience cold climates, less sunshine and more of the cold weather patterns. And so why Senior may have chosen this title for her collection of poems? I would suggest to you that gardening is both literal and metaphoric. So gardening, as in the image I showed you there, getting your pot, putting your plants, and if you don't water them and give them the required sunlight, they're going to die. And so that kind of a metaphor works for the title of the poem. Here I'm giving you reminders. The tropics are therefore both literal and metaphoric. So the countries that are tropical, they experience harsh sunshine. And that's literal, that's true. But then when you read the poems now, you'll have to add the metaphoric meaning to it. Gardening, there is a large theme of nurturing or cultivating. So on the small scale, it's a plant in a pot. On a large scale, it's different. It could be recultivating sugarcane, indigo, cotton, cocoa, bananas. So all the plantations that used to exist or are still existing, those are points of reference in Senior's poem. She uses metaphors of husbandry. And if you go check the word husbandry, it's going to help you. And so, yes, we're probably dealing with agriculture and agricultural metaphors. And another level of interpretation is that Senior takes the whole nurturing metaphor and the cultivating, and she applies it. The poems show it being applied to things. Cultivating as if you're cultivating love or if you're cultivating hate. And so that's metaphoric on another level. And so you'll find the poems deal with issues that are cultivated in the tropics, in the Caribbean, problems that seem to be cultivated or nurtured. Those are focus points in Senior's poems. And so we look at the first poem. I promised I would help you. It's called Meditation on Yellow. It says, at 3 in the afternoon you landed here at El Dorado, for heat engenders gold and fires the brain. Had I known, I would have brewed you up some yellow fever grass and arsenic. And this is the very first stanza of the poem. And the color yellow is significant. It points to the time of the day of the arrival of guests. But these are no ordinary guests. You have a speaker saying, had I known. And so we're puzzled. We'll have to unpack it and find out who is the I. You have a reference to El Dorado. When you landed, when you came, it was El Dorado. And you know El Dorado is the city of gold. And so it speaks of the people who came to the Caribbean, to North and South America, in search of that city of gold. And the I is the persona. The persona is saying, if I had known, I would have brewed you up some yellow fever grass. And so that's the tea we drink, yellow fever, the color yellow there again. But notice there's a subtle inclusion in the tea, and arsenic. I want you to go and find out. I'm not telling you what it is, and you're going to work with the suggestions. The poem continues, but we were peaceful then, childlike in the yellow dawn of our innocence. And so the we now, collective, the persona switches. I'm not speaking for myself alone, I'm speaking for we. And we were childlike, yellow in the dawn of our innocence. So in exchange for a string of islands and 2 continents, you gave us a string of beads and some hawk's bells. So let me take the next slide. It tells you that you need to unpack the historical context of the poem. And you need your history now. So earlier you needed geography, now it's history about the people who came. And now here the poem is taking you in a particular direction. So the speakers, we gave you a string of islands and 2 continents. So here in this image you have North, South America, and a string of islands and 2 continents. And we gave you it in exchange for what? A string of beads. And so you get the whole historical of the Native Indians, the Amerindians, meeting the European colonizers who came, and they, in the arrangement, in the bartering, they get a string of islands and two continents. And so there is a whole lot of sarcasm in the tone of the poem. In exchange for a string of islands and two continents, you gave us a string of beads and some hawk's bells, which was fine by me personally, for I have never wanted to possess things. I prefer copper anyway. The smell pleases our Lord, Yuksha, our mother, Ataberia. It's just that copper and gold hammered into Gorgon, worn in the solar pendants favored by our holy men, fooled you into thinking we possess the real thing. You were not the last to be fooled by our patina. We're gonna stop here with this video.